If we had to look over all the various production and supply chain techniques that revolve around the lean world, if there's one that everyone from the most senior people in the organization down to the most junior people in the factory should really master and should really focus on, it's the combination of the theory of constraints and O.E.E. The theory of constraints is pretty widely read and widely understood, but there certainly is lots of literature around the idea that there is a bottleneck or a constraint in every process. There's a narrow point. If you have 4 machines all strung together and 3 of them can produce 100 an hour and 1 of them can produce 80 an hour, the one that produces 80 an hour is the constraint. It's the bottleneck. It's the one that determines what all those machines can do. And in fact, regardless of what the other ones can do, they're going to produce 80 because that's all that can flow through the narrow point in the process. But you really should look into and really study and really master the theory of constraints. But the companion to the theory of constraints is the idea of O.E.E., overall equipment effectiveness. And it was originally designed around machines. It's certainly just as relevant around people-controlled processes. But O.E.E. is simply taking the flow through any piece of equipment or any production process, any person really, and it's breaking it down into a couple of different elements. It's looking at one, for that machine, how many hours out of the total hours that it was available was it actually running? You may have that factory open 2 shifts, 16 hours, but the machines may only be running 13 or 14 hours. And that idle time is shift change, breaks, the machine's breaking down from time to time, lots of different reasons. But that's one element. So you're looking at, out of the 16 hours, how many hours of actual production uptime did we get? And then you look at what was the rate when it was producing. Okay, so if it was available 16 hours, we ran it for 14 hours, did we get 14 hours worth of standard production through it? And usually that answer is no. You get something less than that for a variety of reasons. You may have new operators or incapable operators. The machine may be a little bit old, not running quite at the pace that it used to. Lots of reasons why it might be producing something less than 100% of what its theoretical capability is. So maybe you're only getting 13 hours worth of production during those 14 hours. And then the final piece is saying, okay, so out of those 13 hours of good production we got, what was the yield? How many of them were good and how many of them were defective and had to be sorted or reworked? And so you might lose another hour there. So out of the 16 hours, you lost 2 hours due to the machine not running, another hour due to less than standard throughput, and another hour due to defects and fallout. So for the 16 hours the machine was there, you only got 12 hours worth of production. So you're getting a 67% or a 2/3 O.E.E. And when you put those together and you're looking at that capacity constraint, that bottleneck machine that can only do 80 an hour, and when you apply O.E.E. to it and find out that, yeah, it can only do 80 an hour, but we're only getting 2/3 of that because of the loss, it starts to really focus on where is the best place to produce, where should our focus be on improvement. What do we need to do to get that constraint machine up as high as it possibly can be? Less important on those other machines. Certainly if you can reduce the defects or get them closer to standard production, that's towards goodness, but it doesn't really have nearly the economic kick of getting excellent O.E.E. performance at bottleneck machines. And if senior people understand that, then they'll understand the primary cost lever that's the biggest key to improving factory throughput and ultimately improving profitability. And if the lower level people who are out there working the machines have a high awareness of where the constraints are and the importance of getting maximum O.E.E., then they can drive those improvements. Lots of things around production and lots of lean tools and techniques are important for people to know, but the theory of constraints coupled with O.E.E. is the combination that everybody needs to be on top of in the manufacturing business if you really want to achieve world-class results. Thank you for listening. If you would like to learn more or if we can be of any help, You can visit us at www.bill-waddell.com. Follow me on Twitter at mfgwaddell, or you can find us on Facebook.